Hey there, everybody. Well, I really hope you're having a good Friday so far. I know I don't normally do as many videos as I've done recently, but I'll be traveling soon, so I'll probably put a community post, on that. But anyway, but for today's video is I wanted to go over my 3 Lamy pens. So I've got the Lamy Vista, the Lamy Safari, and then I have the Lamy 2000. So it's a very, very wide range of their make, and why I've lumped them together sort of is that, so I've got the Safari and I've got the steel broad nib on that, and then the 2000 has the 14 karat broad nib, and the Vista is different because I tried to dig out my 1.1 stub, but I couldn't find it, so I did have 2 other stud nibs, and the one I'm going to show you today is the 1.9 millimeter stub. And the other reason I wanted to do this video was how I ended up getting the new Safari pens that I have, because the one that I did get, I've had it for 10 years now, and it got me through the end of elementary school up to middle school, and I still have it. The only issue with it is that the feed's a little bit damaged, but yeah, and so I of course I'm going to keep it, but when I replaced the nib, it fixed the issue of that being loose, so once I checked and realized it still worked, I kept it. But what it was after I graduated, I got Amazon gift card from a friend, and what was interesting was I was like, oh, I still liked that Lamy Safari a lot, I want to get another. But I also was interested because I learned how they have a rollerball model in the Safari, which, sorry about that, which I sat somewhere, here it is, and it takes the M83 rollerball refill, and although obviously I'm a fountain pen user and fan, but when you're out or whatever and you have a receipt to sign, and that paper's toilet paper virtually, so for the most part, and because I have nearly all my fountain pens, I only have 1 or 2 fine nibs. I'm more, as you already know, I'm more of at least a medium to any kind of stub or broad. That's like my thing. I just now got more into stud nibs than I ever was, but because once my handwriting improved a little bit, I could actually manipulate the stub on the paper in a better manner, because I was just going up and down and it wasn't allowing it to make the cursive character come out, but anyway, but I actually really enjoy this. Now, they have a lot of issues with this. A lot of people did. I got lucky and mine is working great, but if you have issues with it, there's a really good video from this lady. Her channel's still fairly new, and what is her channel? The Analog Lefty, and she gave a really, really good description of how you can switch refills and repair it if should this not work. And she has other really good videos. I'm going to be testing paper, and send her a comment. She was asking about paper, and I still am going to be trying other paper, and I'm actually going to be using different paper today. I'm going to be using Tomoe River paper today, and this is the 52 GSM, and so this is not the original infamous Tomoe River from the machine number 7. This is from machine number, where is it at? This is from machine number 9, I believe. It says Sake Technical Paper Company. I bought this 2 years ago. So, that's all I know on that. So I'm not positive there. I assume that means this is the new paper, because the old was 68 GSM. I've heard that that's almost phased out, but some people have some, and there's a really good video from Mr. Gary Eves, or Gary Ives, it's Eves. He did an excellent comparison. I was really fascinated seeing that. But anyway, a lot of talk, but it's important to it, you know. So I didn't even explain how I got these Lamys, so I need to definitely let you know. So what I discovered was on Amazon you can get, of course, obviously, you know, as I say, I hate how hypocritical I am lately. It's just easier for me, also because my mailbox is weird and you can only get certain things at my thing, but anyway, and they think my house doesn't exist, so it's weird. But anyway, so what I decided to do was I saw on Amazon they sell a Lamy Safari package. So it's a gift pack, 3-piece Lamy Safari. So you get this Vista, the Safari, and then you, in fountain pen form, and then you get that roller ball in this one box, and each are separate, but not that matters. But you know, if you wanted to gift someone the fountain pen and someone else the roller ball, you could, but I just fell in love with that, so that's how I ended up with that. And so far I really love it. Like I say, I'm a big fan of the Safari platform. I know a lot of people don't like the grip, but it works perfect for me, and it even reinforces me to hold it right, because when I was growing up I had a lot of like motor skill issues and stuff, so it actually, you know, it really helps for me. I mean, you know, granted, if you hold your pen different, you definitely would want, you know, you would want something that's rounded. This is a Waterman, but it's, you get the idea. I just wanted to illustrate it for you. But I actually love these. And then obviously the fact this is still here after 10 years and it's been thrown around at school and everything, and it's never even leaked or anything. I did buy a new converter for it and new nib, but that got it working again. So anyway, and then, so that covers that. And then, so this is not like a total review, but it's just more of what I've been using with my pens lately. And then the latest addition to my Lamy collection, if you call it, is the Model 2000. So I really have been eyeing this pen for a very long time. I initially thought about getting the stainless steel version, but then when people were commenting about how good the material is, because it's a fiberglass material called Macrolon, and it's just very barely slightly heavier than the Lamy. I don't have a scale, so, but I can tell you that. But and they were talking about how it like helps your fingertips grasp it and not be slippery, and I agree. It's hard to say because I have so many pens I just love, but as for a piston filling pen, this might be among my most favorites I've ever used, ever. And I think I've liked fountain pens for 10 years at least. And it's a snap cap just like all the others. However, what I ended up really enjoying and really admiring about it is you can post it, and it posts real deeply and nicely. I have 2 vintage Parker 51s, which I'll talk about at a later date. But this is so reminiscent of that, and I love it. But it's thicker, and there's a little bit more of the nib showing, and this pen is an absolute breeze to clean, which is so welcome. I absolutely adore the 2 Mont Blancs I showed you, and I adore my Pelican M1000. However, you have to sit there and pump up and down forever to get it clean. Now, yes, the nib pulls out of the Pelican, but you have to you know, after you get the residual ink, you clean the feed, so you have to do it. But with this, it's easily disassemblable, and I just love that. So as I say, that's how I ended up with that. This was a graduation present from my uncle, so I didn't think I'd end up with it, so beyond grateful for that. And obviously you pay more, you get a little bit more. And so the box for the Model 2000 is stuck. There we go. So you have this like textured box, and then it's as such, and it's actually magnetic, I believe, so pretty neat. I did get this from Goulet Pens, so I'm not as hypocritical as I usually am with that one, but I definitely wanted to be sure I got it from an authorized dealer, you know, more high-end pen. So I feel like that covers the majority of it. Before I write, I'll tell you what I've inked these up with. So with the Safari, because I use the Safari as like my daily planner pen per se, so I actually just decided to stick the cartridge in there. So they use T10 cartridges, and it's got their ink, and I'll be honest with you, I think that their ink is fantastic. Now, it runs a little bit dry in pens that are smaller than a medium, to me, personally, but it's terrific ink. If you put it in a broad, it actually will write kind of wet, which is pretty amazing. So I also have their bottled ink. I have Lamy turquoise, black, and dark lilac, and then I have a whole bottle of this blue so I could fill it into other pens that don't take the cartridge. And then in the Vista, which has the stub nib, I wanted to do an ink that had like the different property to it, so it's those shading properties. So I went with Iroshizuku, which this is a green, but this is the light green, excuse me, called a Chiku Ren. It's actually very nice. I got it because it reminded me of my good friend likes J. Herbon Vert Prey, and this reminded me a lot of it, but I knew it would probably be a wetter ink, and I love it so far, so I'm going to send her a sample of this ink, because I think she may end up liking it. It's like a wetter version. It's definitely a little bit less yellow than Vert Prey, but it has that character. And then last but not least, I still, so this is in my Model 2000, I've got diamine, or I don't know if it's diamine or diamine. I will never figure that out, so if someone could do a little pronunciation, that would be cool. But so I've heard every version, but anyway, but it's this one. Then this is Rider's Blood. This has become probably my favorite ink. It's hard to say. I've actually written through over half of this bottle. I ended up thinking it's kind of like my comfort ink per se, because my friend Jacob, and this is back in art class like 2 semesters ago, we used this ink to do everything. He fell in love with it. I introduced him to it. It's just 18 bucks, and you get 60 milliliters, so it's awesome. And so, I don't know, it just brings back the warm memories of that class, which was a good class and everything. And it's also got good flow to it as well. So I think that's got all the talking. I talked way longer than I thought I would. But we will start with the Safari, which this has just the regular steel broad nib on it. I'd like to mention as well that, the finish of the matte versions of these Safaris I find very attractive, because, you know, if you go with something like this, it's definitely does carry the character of it being a kid pen. I mean, it is in a way. However, if you pulled something out like this, it doesn't seem too awfully out of place. I mean, yes, it's got that, like, Bauhaus design, so, like, you know, it may feel whimsical, but it's like toned down in a tasteful manner, I think. So, anyhow, so, as I say, on Tomoe River today. So hopefully I don't knock everything over. But anyway. So as I say, this is just the regular Lamy ink from cartridge, but it's the same in the bottle, obviously. So this is the broad nib. I'm going to write this the broad steel nib since I have my other one with me. And surprisingly, even though it's sort of moderately dry ink, with the broad it puts out enough, and, you know, it's not, let's see, so it's not, like, horribly dry, but it's good. I really enjoyed this. So as you can see, it does keep up very good. So ended up really liking this. I'm glad to go back to the Safari. I mean, obviously I probably use the 2000 more than I do that, but I use this like every day. I've already written through part of the ink. I don't know, you may not be able to see it, but I only have ink down to there now. So we will move on to the, I think, yeah, I'll go to this one because it's another steel nib, and then we'll finish with the Model 2000. So this is the Lamy. So this is the Vista. This is about the smoothest stub I've actually ever felt. But as I said, it's a 1.9, so it may be too large for some people, but it works for me. I usually tend to have fairly roomy handwriting, especially in letters. I write fairly large. So this is a 1.9 millimeter stub. And it's got really good character to it. I know I say that word a lot, but that's the only one I can think of. It has good personality to this nib for sure. It has very, very thin horizontal and really thick vertical, so I really enjoy that about it. And I didn't even mention on the paper, but I will. This is Iroshizuku. Oh, how did I spell it? Shiku. I'm never going to say these names right. I hope you can forgive me. So it's Shiku Ren. A lot wetter than the regular broad. I very much enjoy this one. So that was that one. Actually, I'm going to do a little bit of signing as well, because that way you can see how it does with my signature thing. And even this one about doesn't skip a beat. It's just, very good. And then lastly, we'll do the Model 2000, which obviously is a big jump in price, because those are about $32 US pens. Actually, you know, guys, I hope you can forgive me. I didn't mention the gift set is $90 US if you wanted to get that, and it's still on Amazon, I believe. Whereas this one is it 220 US dollars, but it's worth every penny. If you can afford it and you're looking for like a first gold nib, but you learned how to use a piston filler, I couldn't recommend this enough. So this is the Lamy 2000. I mean, as you can hear, it has like almost no sound, so it's like really smooth. And my dad doesn't even use fountain pens, but he actually can use this because he asked me, hey, did you get that new pen in? I said, yeah. And he said, you know, that looks like a very round tip. I want to try it. But he's good about not pressing. See, my mom would squishes every nib because she grew up with a ballpoint, and it's just human nature, you know. I tried to get her into it, but it never hit her, unfortunately. But at least she supports me, you know. And but my dad, he's not into the maintenance of it, but I'm curious if he'd be into using a Safari with a cartridge or something, because it seems to go for him. But he ended up using this, and it just wrote for him. And the other difference, you'll see in other videos, and they're not incorrect, they're right too. If you have the the Model 2000, and a lot of people have said that it has a sweet spot to the nib, a very prominent sweet spot. If you have extra fine through medium, it can have that. But this broad just seems to write in every angle. I mean, it's actually one of the few that will reverse write for me. So I don't know what's different it's with that, but the broad doesn't really have a sweet spot in my personal experience. So it's a 14K nib, but even though it's gold, don't expect flexing. This is it's not a total nail, but it pretty much is. But I think that's okay. You know, the architecture of this nib is meant to be a daily rider, and I like that. So that was that, and then this is Diamond Rider's Blood. And interestingly enough, it's just very slightly stubby, but I like that. It's just really nice, and I'm actually going to show you, well, actually, first I'll show how the ink looks. So as you can see, plenty, and it's just lovely. And then the interesting on this is flip the nib and reverse write, and it's still smooth somehow. It's just lovely. It's drier, of course, but it still does it. I mean, look at that. That's, well, you can't see it. There we go. The reverse it's still about the same. So like I said, when my dad used it, he knows how to hold a fountain pen, but when he used it, he was just like up here, but obviously it still works. So it's just, I couldn't recommend it enough. I think, you know, yes, it's a high price pen, but it's just a invincible value pen for sure. So love that one. So that ends today's clip, and I hope that you guys have a great weekend. And again, I'll be gone a while, but I wish you guys the very best, and I'll see you. Hopefully it won't be a whole month, but I'll see you when I see you. So I hope you have a great one.